So what we have here is a little matching exercise, and we're going to look at a series of journal entries, and we're going to determine if they are regular journal entries, if they are adjusting journal entries, or if they are closing entries. Okay? And I think that by this point in time, most of you will get these correct. At least most of them you would get correct. And so just want to make sure we understand and can figure out if there's any confusion at all. We need to address that now. Okay, so it says here for each of these below, we're going to mark them A for journal, B for adjusting, and C for closing. So our first one is right here. We have a debit to cash for $450 and a credit to fees earned for $450. This is cash received at the time that services are provided, and this would be an example of a typical regular journal entry. So we're going to put the letter A out there to signify that that is a regular journal entry. Our next entry is right here. We have a debit to income summary, and we have a credit to retained earnings. Now what this is telling us here is that we had net income for the period of $650. Okay, and anytime we see income summary involved with anything, that is going to be an example of a closing entry. So I'm going to put a C right here. Now we have a situation. It says utilities expense, $430 is our debit. Cash is our credit. And so anytime we have cash going out, this is a situation where we incur an expense and we pay that expense. This is also an example of a regular journal entry, or A. Okay. Next one, wages expense, debit of $870, wages payable, credit of $870. Okay? So what we're talking about here is a situation where we have incurred a liability and we have recognized an expense. This is an example of an adjusting entry. So what we're going to do then is we're going to place a B right here. So what we've done is we, just kind of give you an idea, as we've gotten to the end of the period and we've recognized, hey, we owe $870, but it's going to actually be paid in the next period. So we have to make sure we make this adjusting entry so that our expenses over on the income statement are properly stated. Okay? Our next example has a debit to unearned revenue for $985 and a credit to fees earned. So we need to understand what happened here. We originally would have had an entry like this, cash for $985, and I'm going to just abbreviate unearned revenue $985. That would have been this would have been our initial journal entry. So this is an adjusting entry here at the point in time in which we have earned this revenue. I say this would be our original entry. It may not be. The cash and the unearned revenue is correct. I can't guarantee that it was for $985, but in any event, we have earned $985 now. So we will have a B here as well. This is an adjusting entry. Okay. Then we have a debit to income summary for $597, and then we have a series of 4 expenses that total $597. Okay, this clears out all of our debit amounts from the expense accounts, and this would be a closing entry. All right. Dividends and cash. We have a debit to dividends for $215 and a credit to cash for $215. This entry could have taken place at any point in time in the year. So we're going to assume that this is a regular journal entry. Well, I mean, that's what it is. So, and then finally we have an entry here, accounts receivable $325 as our debit, fees earned $325 as our credit, and it says customer billed for services provided. This one's a little bit tricky here because this could actually be either A or B. Okay, if we didn't have this bit of information here, then the answer would probably be A. But because we have this little bit of this little tidbit of extra information here, what we're saying is we earned some revenue, and then during the billing process at the end of the period, we said, okay, you know what, we've actually earned this $325. So we're going to, when we bill that to the client, at that moment we have an account receivable for $325. So our answer here is going to be B. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful if you needed any help at all, and that'll be our final video for the closing process.